Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of The Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka FPL Drug.
Evening, everyone. We thought we'd do an extra little pod for you. We've obviously had the midweek games. Normally we record on a Tuesday. I think next week it might have to be Wednesday, though. So we thought, we can't miss a game week, and we agreed between ourselves to jump on this evening and cover the 10 games that had just gone. So should we jump straight into it, James?
I think we should. Let's do it.
Go on then. Right, the game that kicked off as we recorded on Tuesday was Wolves 2, Chelsea 1.
Didn't really see this coming, to be honest. A Wolves sort of smash and grab, really, at the end. Neto and Podence doing the business. I was a bit critical of Podence when he was in your team, but he's actually looking quite a player, to be honest. In the absence of Jimenez, he's sort of come into the forefront a bit more, I guess, taking up the mantle. And Neto as well, again, getting a return. He's not much. I think he's around 5.5, isn't he? Let's have a look.
Yeah, Neto's 5.8 million.
5.8, that's a good price.
5.8.
So
Podence is 5.4.
Get a good run of fixtures, then those two are ones to consider. I mean, you got Burnley away next, but after those tough games in game week 15 and 16, and Spurs and United, they've got decent free fixtures of Brighton, Everton, and West Brom. Potentially a period to target if you want to get off of an Armstrong or someone else, because maybe Redmond might come back into the fold for Saints. Yeah,
they do. I think Podence and Neto are the two key ones there. Like you said, they've had to step up with Jimenez not being there. And I think they have. They both look like they want it a bit more. And even Podence got booked at one point for trying to grab the ball back off of Chilwell, I think it was. And I don't mind that, because it's great to see him kind of want to, start quickly and hit Chelsea. And yeah, I think it was a real game of two halves. I know as we were recording, we had it on in the background, but there was nothing really going on. As soon as we stopped recording and then the second half kicked off, different game. And I genuinely thought once Chelsea scored, that was going to be it. But Wolves played really, really well and came back into it. And then obviously, got that late winner, which was well-deserved. And I've actually got Podence and Neto in two of my draft teams that I'm in. So I was buzzing. Even though I don't have them in anything else, just to get some points in draft was nice, because I'm doing shite in there. But you pointed out those fixtures in 17, 18 and 19, which I think is good. Obviously, we've got the double and blank game weeks around then too. So Wolves are one of the teams that don't blank or double. So if you're looking for, maybe a bench boost where you want a single game week player potentially there that's a bit cheaper, or you don't have the wild card chips to use, I think genuinely Wolves are probably quite a good option for that little period there.
Agreed. Obviously, the risk with doubles is rotation. Yeah, you might get 90 minutes out of one game, but then you might get just 20, 30 out of the other game. And then you might not really gain that much over, say, the likes of a Wolves player with a really good fixture.
Exactly. And like talking of rotation, obviously we've got Chelsea. I'm a bit worried about a little bit of rotation with them over the Christmas period. It's not really a team I'd particularly be looking to target, other than maybe the likes of Zuma, because obviously you've got Giroud and Abraham. We don't know which one of them starts over Christmas. With Pulisic back fit now and Ziyech coming back into the fold, Werner might even miss out for one of the games. So I think it's quite tricky.
Yeah, if they started Giroud every game, he'd probably be in my team, because when he plays, he tends to score, be it for Arsenal, be it for Chelsea. He's very clinical and lethal in the air. I don't think there's many players that will beat him in the air, many defenders.
No, we've seen him countless times, haven't we, at St. Mary's?
Yeah, Saints every time. He come off the bench for Arsenal to win the game. I think we were 2-1 up and then ended up losing 3-2.
Yeah, absolute joke. As soon as he came on, we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, very underrated striker at his time during Arsenal, and still to some extent at Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, even I've seen a lot of talk about Reece James, and there's been talk about him for the Sky game as well, but he's another one that I'd be a bit worried about rotation, because obviously you've got Azpilicueta sat on the bench. So I could even see James missing out for a game in these short periods. But we're going to have to deal with it. That's what happens every Christmas. And it's just something we're going to have to consider. But talking of rotation, the next fixture, Man City 1, West Brom 1.
Well, I don't know if you've seen, Pep Guardiola has come out and said that De Bruyne is basically not going to be rotated, which is great news for us owners, I think. I mean, I was quite confident in him starting most games anyway, but obviously coming up to the Christmas period gets especially tight. But he's saying, having missed the sort of like the Champions League games and so on, that he's fit for these Premier League games and he needs him. Really?
Yeah, well, I think he does, because he's got 10 other twats that are sat around him. Like, they can't put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. He's putting in some great balls, and just it's a bit similar to Jack Grealish at Villa, to be honest.
Yeah.
Playing with a load of numpties. He can't finish his great passes.
It's so frustrating to watch. But like, obviously, we both captained De Bruyne, and he should have had at least 2 assists come the end of that game. How, they've effectively headed it straight at Sam Johnson. Yeah, Johnson's in the right position. He makes a good save, but City can't be drawing 1-1 with West Brom.
No, they can't. They just lacked a little bit of creativity. I mean, obviously De Bruyne had the creativity, but Aguero didn't look too good, to be honest. Like, not the same Aguero we know and love.
I don't think he ever will be.
I don't think they could cope with just the physicality of West Brom. I mean, West Brom did this against Spurs as well. It's quite shocking to see, obviously, Bilic go based on that performance. Obviously, it's not based on that singular performance.
Yeah,
but it is a shock. Obviously, they've got their eyes on Allardyce, who will inevitably do a decent job, potentially keep them up like he normally does, and then they're happy then, I guess. But
exactly that. I think you've touched the nail on the head there. You refer to Allardyce as the man that could keep West Brom up. You don't necessarily refer to the predecessor as the man that keep him up.
No, very true. Like, in your head, if Bilic stays, you still see him going down.
Exactly. So I genuinely think they've probably had this in the wings for quite some time, and they were just waiting for the right moment. And they probably thought in their head, after we get beat 4-0 by Man City, we can sack him. Naturally, it's come back to bite a little bit, and they've drawn 1-1 and got a really good point, to be fair. So,
wonder where it would have stopped. Like, would it, if they won 2-0, would they still have sacked him?
Exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, West Brom going away to Man City, winning 3-0? Oh, by the way, Bilic, we've already hired Allardyce, so off you trot.
Well, you remember Pardew got sacked for Saints after he won 4-0 away at Bristol Rovers, a game I went to.
Yeah, he did.
I was fuming.
Yeah, and again,
Atkins came in, and obviously we love the man.
That's another one that highlights it. It's obviously in the wings for quite some time. They think that that's the right time to pull the trigger, and it backfires.
Yeah.
But I think with City, rotation is going to be huge. We all know that with Pep for these Christmas period. Even that back four could change, which is a worry. A lot of us have got Diaz. Quite a few have got Cancelo. They might miss out. You never know. That midfield, they always seem to play at the moment, Gundogan and Rodrigo, but they're not really FPL assets. Obviously, Gundogan got his goal and 3 bonus points this week, but he's not known for that. And that front three, other than Jesus, who, again, seems nailed at the moment because Aguero can't stay fit. I think Aguero hasn't trained all week until today again, after playing, 20 minutes? So that's just a highlight of the man's fitness now. But around him, you've got Torres, Foden, Sterling, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva. That's 6 names there that are effectively vying for 2-3 spots.
Yeah. You mentioned Diaz. Obviously, I was very disappointed to see him to him score an own goal. I was fuming because obviously I brought him in this week, especially with the clean sheet in mind. Not only do I not get the clean sheet, I get an own goal.
FPL in a nutshell, right there, mate.
It certainly is. I was between him and Cancelo, but I don't think there was too much difference in points between Cancelo and Diaz, even with the own goal anyway.
Diaz.
So long term, I'll be okay. But
I think Diaz is still the one that you want to be on out of the back line, because he's the one that I think will feature more. And obviously, Sam Johnson, probably the only West Brom asset we really want to touch on at the moment, could even benefit from the fact of Allardyce coming in. They might defensively shore up a little bit, and they're one of the teams that double in game week 19. You know, it's Wolves away and West Ham away, tricky fixtures, but possibilities of clean sheets now.
I think so. Yeah, you could consider potentially some of the cheaper defenders, so like a 4.5 defender. Obviously, it'd be interesting to see sort of what formation he plays, who he plays up top, because he might be able to start getting some balls, like some goals from the strikers, just from direct football, just his traditional football.
Yeah, exactly. It could be interesting to see if Charlie Austin makes more of an appearance for West Brom. You know, he's got a bit of vigor about him. As much as we hate him, he might end up being the kind of player that Allardyce likes, that someone likes to kind of get involved and get stuck into defences. So,
yeah, potentially with a new manager coming in, like certain players might get lifted. Austin might be one of those.
All right, well, let's jump on to the game at the Emirates and our frustrating fixture. Arsenal 1, Saints 1.
Yeah, Walcott, fair play to him. Obviously, scored against his old club, playing for his old club. Yeah, it's quite frustrating to see Aubameyang score.
Yeah.
Because I think really we deserve to win this game.
We were dominant in the first half. I don't think we really gave Arsenal a sniff, and obviously didn't take our chances. Arsenal grew into the game a little bit in the second half, but I don't say much. They got their goal. You know, Saka opened us up far too easy, in my opinion. And then, got it through to Nketiah, laid it off for Aubameyang, and he actually slotted it home for once. But to then see us kind of sit back, and Hasenhüttl was commented at the end of the game, he seemed happy with a point, which was interesting, given Arsenal went down to 10 men, because obviously Gabriel picked up two yellows in this game as well. So for us to be hitting them with 10 men for 20, 25 minutes, it was a bit frustrating to see us not pick up the win.
Yeah, no, exactly. It would have been, you'd think they'd go for the jugular and try and kill the game, try and win the game, especially in that position. I mean, Arsenal aren't the greatest team at the moment, so I don't see why we didn't go for it. Obviously, he was quite happy with the draw and basically saying we could have lost, kind of his attitude. But who knows? Maybe we would have done if we went for it, and they'd have caught us.
That is true. I mean, obviously Holding hit the bar with his header, but then Walcott hit the bar as well. Not Walcott, Redmond hit the bar when he came on, didn't he? So it's a bit frustrating to see, but again, it's another point that, you know, perhaps we would have taken at the start. It's Arsenal at the end of the day away. It's usually a tricky fixture for us anyway, and we still see ourselves sitting third in the table. And to be fair, at the start of the season, if you had told me that we'd be third come Christmas, I'd have bit your fucking hand off. So I'm taking that.
I'm very happy. Great job that he's doing, and I trust him.
Oh God, yeah. And obviously we've got City tomorrow, which I think will be an interesting game. We obviously got the win against them at home last season. Could we replicate that this season? Well, I expect we'll give them a damn good game, particularly if they play the same as they did against West Brom.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping to get back in time for it.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Right, let's jump on to the cracker that was on Wednesday, which was Leeds 5, Newcastle 2.
Well, Leeds, another fantastic attacking display. 5 pretty decent goals.
5 different goal scorers as well.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Clearly a team performance here. And Leeds are just surpassing expectations from based on the start of the season. I mean, you wouldn't have seen this coming, to be honest. And they played particularly well, obviously, in recent times. And I don't really write them off against anyone.
No, I don't think you can. I mean, they're not picking up the results necessarily sometimes, but we all know Leeds have had this kind of performance in them, and we haven't necessarily seen it all the time. So it's great to kind of see them come out, and they conceded an early goal to Newcastle, but even then, I just generally didn't think Leeds would lose this one, and they obviously conceded from a set piece, which we all spoke about at the start of the last week anyway. We even mentioned it on the last pod that inevitably Leeds won't keep a clean sheet because Newcastle will score from a set piece, and they did. But Leeds just kept going, and they went for them. And I think Harrison was brilliant in the highlights that I've seen. He was exceptional. Obviously, Bamford got his goal. It was off the crossbar and he slotted it in, but you've got to be in the right place. Rodrigo obviously got his goal and an assist. So there's some real viable options if you want Leeds assets still. And a lot of us have probably got a Leeds defender in either Dallas or Ayling. A lot of people have got Bamford, but the midfield options aren't necessarily that highly owned. So if you're looking at them, there's some real value to be had. And again, with that double game week in mind and double game week 19, they play Brighton and Saints both at home. So to maybe have 2, maybe even 3 Leeds options for those 2 games, I think, the value's there. Like if you've got a Bamford, maybe even a Meslier and then a Harrison, there's points. I can fully see, holes from either one of them across those 2 games.
Agreed. I think I'd go in midfield, Klitsch or Harrison. Klitsch for the pens, obviously.
Yep.
Chances are he could get one over the 2 in the double game week, and that sets you up there, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously, Newcastle, we saw the return of Ryan Fraser. He came back into the fold after his injury concerns. So whether that Fraser-Wilson partnership can develop a bit more, I think Newcastle fans were excited to see it. And I think whilst Wilson was fit alongside Fraser, they both kind of were linking up quite well. And then obviously Fraser got his injury, so he's not really had that. But maybe the next kind of run of games gives them the chance to develop that relationship again. So it'll be interesting to see. But I wouldn't necessarily touch Newcastle at the moment. Again, people are talking about them, because they play Fulham this weekend. But after that, they've got Man City, Liverpool and Leicester. So I'm not going anywhere near Newcastle until maybe game week 18 is an option for people if they need someone for the free hit team, to cover the blank. They play Sheffield United. So if you are free hitting at 18, you might look to maybe bring in a Callum Wilson for his value. But other than that, I wouldn't really touch.
I agree with most of what you said there, to be honest. I think if I was going to look at a striker, I'd maybe go Wilson, but I don't need a striker personally, so I'm not even looking.
Nah. Right, let's jump on to what I thought was a surprise. Leeds 0, Everton 2.
Or Leicester 0, Everton 2.
Yeah. I've just got Leeds in my head. I'm thinking, which 3 players do I want,
Yeah, Everton clean sheet again. This time with Olsen in goal. Yep. Does he now stick with Olsen? I mean, be hard not to. Away at Leicester, he made a couple of saves, not enough to get a save point in the game, but a promising sign for Everton. I mean, don't jump into them yet defensively by any means, but see how it goes and monitor it, because potentially then it might be worth getting an Everton defensive asset that also threatens going forward. So your Dinyas or Nkuku if he plays, the other fullback. That is Nkuku, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Everton on FIFA, so I should know. I play him quite a bit, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, there you go. And we've obviously got Mason Holgate has come back into the fold after his injury nightmares for most of the season. He's had 90 minutes now, and he got his goal, didn't he? So yeah, I think he's a good option. He's only 0.3% owned and 4.8 mil. So if you were looking for a defensive option that plays for Everton, that isn't necessarily, the more expensive and Luka Dean, then yeah, I think Holgate is quite a good one. But I wouldn't touch them for now because they've got Arsenal, Sheffield United, City, West Ham, Wolves. I think it's quite a tricky run, to be fair.
You say that, but I think for Richarlison, I think that would be quite a good run.
Yeah, that's what
Richarlison's good against pretty much any team anyway. And you're looking at Arsenal's defence and Sheffield United's defence. I think there's points for Richarlison there. And obviously, you've got 2 bonus as well, as opposed to Calvert-Lewin, who when he scores or assists doesn't tend to get too much bonus. I think Richarlison has been doing okay on that front. And a similar price, I think he's lower than Calvert-Lewin now. So if you're looking for a diff, I think I'd go on Richarlison, to be honest.
Yeah, if he gets involved in a game and he's up for it, he always looks lively, doesn't he? And he's a chance creator. He's always trying to cut in, trying to push the defence. Obviously creates chances for Calvert-Lewin. So, yeah, I think that partnership between those two is one that's kind of developing quite well as well. And it's definitely benefiting Richarlison for, like chance creation. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin, his conversion rate has been brilliant so far this season. And he still pops up with the assists even when he doesn't get the goals. So, yeah, I dropped him for this run. I don't even know if I'll go back at the moment. It might be regrettable, but because of that blank double situation, I'm not sure that I necessarily need him. But yeah, it is always frustrating when you see DCL pop up on the video printer and he's got a goal or an assist. It's inevitable. Whereas Leicester, a lot of people thought Leicester were going to win this one, particularly after their performance in the game week before.
I was very disappointed, to be honest. As a Jamie Vardy owner in official FPL and Sky, it hurt to see him not get points today against Everton. I in my head, I could see 2 goals quite clearly for Jamie Vardy, but it just didn't happen.
No, we thought that they had a pen at the end of the game there, but obviously VAR ruled that out, and that was going to be Vardy's moment, step up, get his inevitable goal, but didn't even give that to us. So, most obviously yourself, you ended up on 2 points in FPL. He didn't even hit shot tier, I don't think, for Sky, which was frustrating. So it was one of those Vardy games, You either get the holes with him and you get the 2-3 goals, or you deal with the blanks. But that's why you have Vardy at the end of the day. I think you don't want to be chopping and changing him because you don't know when he's going to fire.
No, stick with him. Exactly. The week you take him out, he'll get 14 points.
Yeah, 100%. Right, let's move on to the next one. And a game that I did not expect to finish 0-0 was Fulham 0, Brighton 0.
Yes, as someone that brought in Lookman this week, fairly disappointed in Fulham. I was expecting a bit more, to be honest, based on their recent performances. Coming up against a sort of out of sorts Brighton, I thought was quite confident in winning the game.
Yeah, well, obviously, both teams have chances. There's 4 saves apiece, official saves for FPL, but I think the big talking point at the start of the game was the fact that Sanchez came in for Matt Ryan. And Potter seemed to confirm at the end of the game that it's actually Sanchez's place to lose now. So Ryan seems to have been dropped, which is an interesting one.
It really is. I saw a few lucky people getting some auto subs in for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
If you're a Ryan owner, I wouldn't be too hacked off. I'll just transfer him out, to be honest.
There's plenty of value in and around that kind of.
I'd go for Meslier for one, or Johnston even now with Allardyce coming in could be an option.
Exactly.
Get some more save points.
If you've got a little bit more money, you can always jump up to a McCarthy or a Martinez. The value's there in and around that 4.5 to 5 million. So if you do have Ryan, or some people might even have the double up with Brighton, but I think I can't remember the other chap's name, the other Brighton goalkeeper.
Bun? No, not Bun. Is it Bun?
No, Button's gone to West Brom.
Oh, who is it? It's Walton.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, but he's been injured, so he's not actually the second choice goalkeeper at the moment. Which, if you've got the Ryan Walton double up, then you're a bit fucked. So yeah, you're gonna have to move on. But I'm hoping for some more returns from Fulham this weekend. Obviously, I've got Bobby Reid. You've got Lookman. I think Bobby Reid picked up a bit of a knock midweek, but I'm hoping he recovers to play this weekend because I'm going to start him and then hope for the best.
Fair play.
Right, let's move on to arguably the biggest game of the day on the Wednesday, and that was Liverpool 2, Spurs 1.
A Firmino goal, a rare Leicester spot
Anfield
goal. Yeah, exactly. Normally away from home.
Yeah.
Good header as well.
One that
vital win.
One that Tim Sherwood didn't particularly predict. Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I saw. He's like, oh yeah, no way he's putting this in.
Yeah, not worried about this one now. I'm just going to sit back and wait, that one. Fucking bellend.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, it was good, but yeah, it was a really, really interesting game to watch. And I know Mourinho made his comments at the end of the game, and I think he told Klopp, and then obviously told the media that the best team lost. I don't necessarily agree. I think the best team throughout the game won, but Spurs had the best chances, in my opinion, and didn't take them. Obviously, we saw Harry Kane miss an absolute sitter in front of goal. Give that ball to him.
Bergwijn as well, dashing past the
Bergwijn hit
post.
the post. But if you give that ball to Harry Kane another 100 times, he puts it in the back of the net 100 times. You're never going to. I don't think he's ever going to be able to get that header back over the crossbar in the way that he did.
Yeah, it's just unlucky, I guess, in these big games that it just sometimes doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
But I still feel confident in Spurs, to be honest. In the last man standing, I actually voted for them to win the league.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. I mean, Son's goal was the epitome of what Spurs are this season at the moment. They hit teams so well on the break. And Liverpool didn't know what had hit them. And brilliant finish, to give Alisson the eyes and then put it down to the bottom left rather than going, round the keeper was really good. And a lot of people had obviously spoke about the fact that Son was probably the one to be on out of him and Kane for this particular game. Whereas obviously where they're playing Leicester this weekend, Kane's got a really good record against Leicester. I think he scored a hat-trick in the last couple of seasons. So it's one to maybe, jump back on. But most people have held either one or both from what I've seen. And the ones that have obviously jumped off are looking to get them back in. And there's a reason for that. And that's because Spurs have been brilliant. It's been a tough period for them. I don't think they deserve to lose. But at the end of the day, you can't argue with Liverpool getting the 3 points.
I'd agree with that, to be honest. I don't think they deserve to lose, but they don't really deserve to win either.
No.
So, yeah, I think they're just going to have to pick themselves up and go again.
Yeah. I fully expect they will. I think they'll beat Leicester this weekend. Obviously, we'll come on to predictions at the end of the pod, but yeah, I can see Spurs getting a win there. Let's jump on. Jump on to West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah, obviously a Kufal assist. Sat firmly on my bench.
He was on a lot of benches.
Yeah, I could see Palace scoring, and I had better options to play. Like I played Lookman at home to Brighton. I thought I could see a return there. Obviously, it didn't happen, but that's just FPL for you. Kufal hadn't got an assist for a good few, like maybe 6 weeks before that. So, hey-ho.
Well, exactly. And to be fair, not many people probably expected it, but he had a brilliant game. And he's one that, if you're looking at West Ham defensively, I think he's the one to be on. He just gets down that line so well and puts in ball after ball. And then obviously Sebastian Haller got a wonder goal. Absolutely beautiful overhead kick. For all the talk that, he's Deadwood and he's shit and, he doesn't cover for Antonio at all, to take that goal in the manner that he did was brilliant. And obviously he's stepped up to the mantle, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, fantastic goal. Beautiful overhead. I think I saw a tweet about someone saying that Haller was going to do this with reference to an overhead kick goal the following day.
All right.
One of those sort of prophecy tweets.
I'll need to ask the man for the lottery numbers.
Yeah.
And then, talking of strikers that everybody talks about being out of form, we've got Benteke getting another goal. However, he did add a red card to that other goal, which I thought was so harsh. The 2 bookings he got were for effectively, a typical Andy Carroll elbow, jump in the way he goes. And the second one in particular, I don't think it was another yellow.
Yeah, so it's a shame for him, really. Obviously, you get a ban for that for, one game?
Yeah, I think he misses a game, misses this weekend.
Just the one game, but been doing well. Obviously, no one owns him in the game, but it's good to see. We did say we hope he'd come back, and he is, thankfully.
Yeah, and to be fair, the one game he misses is Liverpool at home, so
perfect for him.
Exactly. He can just sit back, relax, and then he'll return for Aston Villa. So I think he'll be all right. But he's weirdly been quite a good differential. And I mean, he's got 3 goals in 3 games. It's not the type of performance I think any of us would have predicted, but he's obviously been given 3 starts in a row. Hodgson's obviously seeing something in training and the way that he's kind of put himself out on the pitch. And I think he's providing that focal point for the likes of Eze and Zaha now. which, can only be a benefit for Crystal Palace. Just hope that he keeps up the form, because we all know what Benteke has got. We've seen how he played for Aston Villa back in the day, and to see him in the downfall that he's had, it's quite sad to see. So it's good that I think he's stepping up again, and I just hope that when he comes back, he can carry it on.
I hope he does.
Right, the games that were obviously yesterday, and quite an entertaining 0-0 draw between Aston Villa and Burnley.
Yeah, I was bricking it near the end, to be honest, as a Martinez owner and a Target owner. I was just like, please hold on the clean sheet. Please hold on. Swearing at the TV every time Burnley went forward. But yeah, thankfully they held on. Martinez looked quite assured as well.
Yeah.
Even with some tricky shots, he managed to catch them as well. Because he does have a tendency to palm them away sometimes, but he was catching quite a few of the balls near the end.
It's always gives confidence to a defence when a goalkeeper can catch a ball rather than palm it away. And obviously, Pope made some really good saves. Like you mentioned earlier, Jack Grealish was probably a very frustrated man, because I think he was given man of the match. And the chances that he was putting on a plate for teammates, missed by El Mohammadi, Trezeguet.
El Ghazi's one was horrific. He had two chances within about 2 minutes, and one of them he hit with just such a limp effort.
Yeah.
Like P-rolled to the keeper.
Exactly. And Pope
great position.
Save.
Yeah, great position. Just to slot it into the top right, bottom right, or just hit it hard at least.
Exactly. I think what Grealish has missed recently is Ross Barkley, in my opinion. I think the rumours are that Barkley might actually be back for this weekend, so that could benefit Grealish, and obviously Grealish owners. We're both one of them. But yeah, I think I'd be a completely frustrated man. It's very much the KDB situation, where there's only so much you can do, and there's only so many chances you can put on a plate for people before, one, you try and do it yourself. I think Grealish went on a mazy run, took it around 3 players, and then blazed it over the crossbar. But at that point, I think that was the only thing he could do. He'd already tried and put four chances on a plate. None of them were taken. He's just like, you know what? Fuck this, guys. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him, to be honest. I don't know if about you, but it was Traore a bit greedy for you?
Yeah.
There's a few times where he could have passed, and he's just in a terrible position, but tried anyway, like from the sort of a tight angle was one of them. But, yeah.
It's frustrating to see, isn't it? And obviously, like you, I've got Matty Target and FPL, so it was good to get that clean sheet. But I was praying that Villa kept the clean sheet for Sky, because I brought in Martinez for Patricio during the game week. And I needed the Villa clean sheet in the knowledge that my Sky, the guy that I was playing in Sky, I didn't believe that he had Martinez. And I was really hoping he wouldn't make the same move, and he didn't. So Martinez's 11 points there got me through. So I was absolutely buzzing.
Nice.
Yeah, can't complain
I
about that.
Things into both Sky teams, so I was happy. So happiness all round on that game.
Right, and then the final game of the week, and one that actually became quite a surprising scoreline, although I really don't think it sums up the game, was Sheffield United 2, Man United 3.
Yeah, 2 goals from McGoaldrick. I didn't really see that coming ahead of Man United, to be honest, or any game. But he'll take it.
Goals.
It's a bit of a boost to him, though. And maybe they'll feel a little bit more confident in going into some other games. But at the same time, the points aren't on the board. They aren't coming around, and it's not looking great. I've seen stats like they're projected to get 2.92 points in total for the end of the season.
I'm sure I saw a stat that they've actually got the worst points record after 13 games in the history of the Premier League now.
I swear I heard in the history of the top division.
Oh, wow.
Even
Christ.
Going back to 18, bloody 80, whatever.
I mean, yeah, well, to be fair, 1 point after 13 games, even Derby weren't that bad. And we know how many points they got. So, like, McGoaldrick, for instance, he's got 4 goals this season. They've only got 7 in total. So for David McGoaldrick to be getting 4 of those, and both of them were just ridiculous goals last night. They were the first one. A lot of people have obviously questioned Henderson, but I don't think Maguire should be playing that pass back to him when he's clearly being closed down. Obviously makes the mistake, and then McGoaldrick's there to tap it in. And then the second one was just ridiculous. Lindelof's obviously gone up, won the header, headed it back off the back of McGoaldrick, and then it's flown in. So you can't get any more unlucky as a defender. Like, you think you've made the clearance and it just bounces off the striker that's in front of you. But Man United, after obviously Sheffield United scored against them, I thought they reacted brilliantly. A lot of us expected Bruno to get a hole in this one, and he actually got fuck all and then got subbed in the 74th minute, I think it was.
Beautiful.
Rashford played very well, got his 2 goals. I thought Pogba actually had quite a good game. And even Martial got a goal and an assist, and he was smiling for once. So,
yeah, could it be the resurgence of Tony Martial? What I predicted pre-season was a golden boot. I'm not expecting that now, but he may go on a bit of a run of form. But I'd like to be seeing guaranteed minutes for Martial before I kind of invest.
Didn't we both start with Martial in our fantasy teams?
We did, yeah. At the time, felt like a good decision, but
well, it did, and then he got sent off for a ridiculous, pathetic slap. But obviously, they play Leeds this weekend, and I think that's going to be a really open game. Obviously, Man United like to play on the counter, and so do Leeds. So I can see goals flying in this game, and I don't think there'll be clean sheets for either team. But it could be a really good one for the likes of Bruno to pick up that bit of space in behind when there's gaps to fill. And yeah, I could probably see him feeding Rashford again.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, the Leeds fans are going to be gutted. Sort of first game against Man U, and they can't even go to the away game due to obviously COVID.
I know. I think there's only 4 teams that can actually get fans now. Obviously, you've got Saints, Brighton, Everton, and Liverpool. Is it?
I think so. Will that impact performances? Potentially, to be honest, because I did see. I saw obviously an uplift in the performances of the teams that had the home crowds.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't think there's enough data to back it up, but obviously I went to the game, and it's interesting because you could see that the Saints players knew that we were there, and I think they were enjoying the fact that we were there. Whether 2,000 fans is enough to make a difference to an away team, I'm not so sure, but it must still be a strange experience knowing that there are fans in the ground, but none of them are there to support you. So,
yeah, I think it would have some impact. Maybe the impact would depend on the team's fans. I'm sure it's quite complicated. But
yeah. And to be fair, it probably impacts the referee as well, because they've not had fans screaming at them about decisions for 6 months, and suddenly they've got to deal with 2,000 voices, and it is quite a noise when you get 2,000 people calling you,
a wanker, yeah.
Well, yeah. So it must be tricky, but I just think in some cases it's a little bit unfair on some teams to not have fans against others. But at the end of the day, it's the situation we're in, and the clubs need to make money somehow. So,
well, I think that's fair enough. To be honest.
Obviously, I'm a bit gutted that I don't get to go to St Mary's tomorrow with Man City coming. I've had my round, but I got an email to say I was unsuccessful, and I knew that because we were already told that once you had been in the ballot, you weren't getting another game until the other, I think, 8,000 season ticket holders had attended. So I'm going to miss at least the next 3 if we don't go into another lockdown. So fingers crossed we fucking don't, eh? Right. Yeah. Shall we do some quick predictions for the listeners for this game week? Obviously, we've got a very quick turnaround. So by the time you guys listen to this, it'll either be coming up to the deadline or the deadline might have even passed. But we'll give you our predictions anyway. So quick fire thinking. Crystal Palace, Liverpool.
I'm going 3-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to say 3-0 Liverpool.
Okay.
Saints, Man City.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Ooh, I'm going to go 2-1 Man City. I think we might get beat. Everton, Arsenal.
2-0 Everton.
That's exactly what I'm going for. 2-0 Everton. Newcastle, Fulham.
1-1.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say 2-1 Fulham. Brighton, Sheffield United.
0-0.
It's got 0-0 all over it, doesn't it? I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton. I think Sheffield United will find another defeat. Spurs, Leicester.
Ooh. I'm going to go I'm going to go 3-2 Spurs.
Oh, you're going for a lively affair. I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. Man United Leeds.
God, 2-1 to Leeds.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go 4-2 to Man United. West Brom Aston Villa.
2-1 to Villa.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go 1-0 Villa. Obviously, Big Sam's first game in charge. I think he'll try and set them up, but Villa will still come good. Burnley Wolves.
1-0 Wolves.
Oh, 1-0 who?
To Wolves.
Okay. I'm going to go 2-0 Wolves. Chelsea West Ham, final game of the week.
1-0 West Ham.
Oh, nice. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. So that sums up the FPL game week. Obviously, hopefully you guys have found it useful. We thought we'd quickly summarize the midweek games. You know, we couldn't miss a game week, could we? That would just be ridiculous. What kind of season keeper podcast would miss a game week? So we've done it for you guys, obviously, on the Friday evening. We spoke about it before, but I think due to some commitments, we're not going to be able to record until Wednesday afternoon next week. But again, we'll do a full summary. We'll also summarize the Champman game week gone, and we'll summarize the game week because obviously the Champman game is next Wednesday night, not Thursday, because obviously Thursday is Christmas Eve. So hopefully we'll get that in, get it released, and have some tips for you before those game weeks kick off. So good chatting to you, James. Thanks very much for that.
Yeah, very much enjoyed it. And it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me. Cheers, guys.